don't have a memory of my life pre, my 6-year-old birthday or 7-year-old birthday, whatever it was.
She's that person that told me just you go for it. You don't stop. Whatever you want, you do it. You do it now.
I am who I am, and that's all that I am. I think I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Uh,
Welcome to Homegirl Knows Best. This show is about the people, the stories, and all the messy chaos in between. I'm your host, Jen Cameron. Let's get into it.
Mauricio, thank you so much for coming on to Homegirl Knows Best today. I saved my ask for when they count, and I'm really, truly honored and excited to have you with us.
Jen, that's amazing. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And I'm excited. Let's see what Homegirl wants to talk about.
Okay, so part of this show is really not just who we are, right? But the things that shape us along the way. And you've been in the spotlight for years. But, tell us a little bit, who are you when the camera comes off? Because this is what people want to know.
I mean, I'm just a normal guy. I think, I think different, similar to the way that people think about me. When I'm on camera, I'm the same person I am when I'm off camera. I don't change. I think I'm just a normal guy. I don't think I put on an act for being on camera. I'm just a normal man, like goes about my life and goes about my things, and willing to be unapologetically myself, and just do fun stuff.
You were at Forum this year, and unfortunately, I missed it. But I did watch your speech about authenticity. What does that mean to you?
Um, Look, when you're on camera and you're on television, you get judged. Everybody looks at you. You start, being a chameleon. You start talking about different things. You start becoming, what everybody else wants to do. And what you end up doing is you end up losing yourself, right? And you end up all of a sudden finding yourself in a moment where you're no longer who you want to be. And I learned that through just putting yourself out there and willing to make a mistake and just willing to be vulnerable and willing to put yourself into this world. You actually end up attracting people that want you for what you are and not you for what they want you to be. And you'll lose some people, you'll push some people away. They won't be part of your life just because you're being authentic, you're being yourself. But those relationships that you end up keeping end up just being so much more powerful and so much stronger and so much better.
You just said the key word. I said I want to shoot the word authenticity in its head for 2026 because so many people are like, I'm authentic, I'm authentic. And I'm like, no, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you're not authentic.
That's right.
Okay. So
Yeah, no, if you're not willing to put yourself out there, you're not willing to take risks, and you're not willing to, make mistakes and have an opinion, there's no way you can be authentic.
I was thinking about you last night because we met, it was more than 4 years ago now, at Inman in New York City. I just told my firm I was leaving. I was launching the agency. I was kind of still hiding out. We were going to karaoke and we were walking across the sidewalk, and my daughter Jordan called and she FaceTimed me. And I said, hey, we're going to karaoke and Mauricio and all these people are here. And she's like, can I talk to Mauricio? And I handed you the phone, and you were so cute and sweet with her. She has autism,
uh,
obviously. And um, I'm always like so grateful when,
how's she doing now?
well, first of all, she just turned 28.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she has a very full life. She takes classes and she has a little job at a cat cafe where she helps with the adoption of the pets. And she does her
Oh,
art and she's very theatrical. I have no idea where she gets that from, but she's just my little hero.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, tell her I say hi. It's been a
Oh,
while. I remember when I talked to her, but tell her I say hello.
I love that. She will. We'll have to give a shout out. There's two, we relocated our office from downtown Kirkland to Bellevue on Old Main Street.
Yeah.
And there are two ladies that live in our neighborhood, and they just do these rando pop bys. And they come in, and yesterday I'm working. We've got this little kind of island that I like to be at. And I'm like, hi, ladies. And they come in, and I swear they come in because they're curious about you. And they always say, so do you really know Mauricio? What's he really like? And what, he has three daughters yesterday. I'm like, no, he has four. Well, is he like he is on TV? So I said, he's going to be on my podcast tomorrow. So I'll tell him to give a shout out to the ladies in Bellevue and Sophie's friend and moms that are all going to watch my podcast, all the Jewish moms, because they heard Mauricio's coming on. So you're really hyping me up today.
I love that. Well, I'll say hi to all of the ladies from Bellevue and particularly all the Jewish ladies from Bellevue. So, yeah, let's go.
It's fun.
I
It's
love it. Thank
fun.
you all so much for checking in and going into the office. And I hope that you enjoy this podcast. And Jen did talk about you all. So here we are.
I know. In your book, The Deal Maker, you talk about having a disability as a child. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How it affected you, and also kind of how it shaped you into the person that you are now?
Well, when you're talking about a disability, I think I talked about two things. One of them is, being born with blind in one eye, and I still have that. I just learned how to live with it. I was born with it, so I never knew anything different. So it just, it works and it's fine. But I was born with a blood disease where I just, I was in and out of hospitals all of my life all of my first 6 years of my life, I should say. And you know, the brain is a pretty powerful thing. I ended up just forgetting those 6 years and erasing them. Like they just don't exist in my life. Like I don't have a memory of my life my 6-year-old birthday or 7-year-old birthday, whatever
Wow.
it was. It's a very powerful brain where it just has the ability to just shut painful things out, right? And so I'm sure if I went to do some sort of hypnosis or I went to go do some sort of crazy thing, I could probably tap into it. But why would I want to tap into a moment where I was you know hurt and hurting and in hospitals? Like I don't need to remember that.
Do you feel though that you have either a different tenacity or things that maybe that impacted in you that has kind of shaped or influenced who you are just in all the things you do? I have never met anyone who has your level of energy. You literally showed up hot for this podcast, wondering how it got worked into your day, a showing, and then you've got to be off here at 4:30 to go the next thing. I don't think a lot of people can meet your energy level, Mo.
Thank you. I don't know if that has anything to do with my energy level, but it definitely has a lot to do with, the carpe diem, living the life, enjoying every single moment of my life. When you're not supposed to live and all of a sudden you live, you certainly have a way more enjoyment of life, right?
Yeah.
And so I definitely think it has a lot to do with the joy, the happiness, really, again, carpe diem, right? Seizing
Yeah.
every moment. And it has definitely installed that type of tenacity, if you will, and that type of that love of life and that love of everything that we do and wanting to fit, as much as I can into any given day. Sometimes it's a little bit too much, and I'd like to just learn how to relax a little bit. I'm working on that, or just be a little more prioritizing. But we try to do it all.
Well, don't stop dancing, because every time we're together, you get up and dance and you get everybody else going. And I always say I lost my best friend to brain cancer, and she's that person
Ah,
that told me, just you go for it. You don't stop. Whatever you want, you do it now. And so I love when you dance. That's my favorite.
well, we're not going to stop dancing. I love to dance. It's one of my favorite things, and I'm so glad that I finally learned how to dance properly. I always just knew how to move, but now I can actually, lead you, Jen. Like, let's go out and do a little tango.
Okay, teach me. That would be
I'll teach you
amazing.
a
I
little
don't care if it's
tango.
two steps.
Da, da,
Um,
da, da. Let's
okay,
go.
so you are the ultimate girl dad for four girls, okay? And we talked about this when we did the interview in Seattle 4 years ago. Your girls have strong personalities and you're a supporter of women. Um, but what have the girls taught you um, by being a girl dad that business never could?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I look. I just love being a girl dad. I mean, they're emotional. They're sentimental. They care about me. The candor with girls is pretty awesome. It's just straight up candor, and I love that. But I'm a Cancer, so I'm a sensitive guy. So I think I was meant to be with girls. And whenever I'm down, I just I called all four of them to see who answers. Eventually, one of them is going to answer. I've never had a situation where none of them have answered, so that's good. Hopefully, that never happens. Sometimes I'm on the fourth one. They don't know I'm on the fourth one. And and they're just the best. They live me, they lift me, they love me. Working with them is amazing. I mean, this weekend is International Women's Day, so that's kind of cool and kind of fun. Empowering women is something that I've always loved to do. I mean, I want my kids, to be the president of the United States. Like, I want them to feel like they can do that, and I want them to feel like they can do whatever. So, I'm super proud of, empowering women in the workplace. And I mean, you women are amazing. I mean, not only are you incredible at what you do in terms of your work, but then, you got to go home and, be a mom, and be a wife, and you're expected to do, certain things that, men are not expected to do. And, as, at home, after you get home from work and you're working as hard as we are. So, I think you girls are awesome.
Aw, thank you. I loved you posted it was your daughter's Portia's 18th birthday. That is such a huge milestone. That
I know it just
I'm
happened.
gonna
I'm
guess.
so excited.
Oh, I would guess
Uh,
that gave you a little emotion. But you posted these darling photos, and then in the middle of it, there she is putting a mask on your face. And
we
just
always did
like,
that. She always did spa days with me, and she took care of me, and groomed me. She's and takes care of me, and we'd sit down, and she would just love it, and she would teach me, and like it was the cutest thing growing up like that. With her growing up like that, and she was my baby, and so we just spent so much time together. I mean, that was just a very common thing.
I love that. I love when you talk about them, you're smiling the whole time. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, the stress just goes. So I want to ask you this question because you've been in the media a lot. And I don't know, I've clearly never had that experience, but when you're getting so much attention all the time, like how do you stay grounded? Because I've really not seen you change from the person I met 4 years ago to now, other than your empire has, imploded into this global machine. But you're still the same guy.
Well, I forget that I'm on television all the time. I mean, until you bring it up, I forget that I'm on television. I don't even think about it. I think I'm just a normal human being and a normal dude, and it doesn't even phase me, which is, sometimes why I make stupid mistakes in the media and I get, caught by paparazzi doing stupid shit because I forget about, when I'm, that I'm on television. I forget that that's who I am. I got to get better at that for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, it helps me get reservations at restaurants, which is kind of nice. But at the end of the day, you just got to be you, man. And I forget about it all the time. I just want to be, I am who I am, and that's all that I am. I think I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Uh,
So
oh
we
man.
had the show Buying Beverly Hills outside of all the housewives and yada yada and Dancing with the Stars and all that, right? But in real
Yep.
estate, do you feel that media exposure is an asset or a liability?
It can be both. Media exposure can be used as a great tool to expose to yourself, to grow, to get lead generation, to expose a home from a marketing perspective. It can be fantastic. But if you use it wrong, and you use, as at the agency, we are a great PR company. But if you use it wrong, and people don't believe that you can have good confidentiality, that they can do things, I think that's critical. To be able to keep your mouth shut is critical. There was a great mentor of mine that once taught me, and he said to me, Mauricio, you know how a fish gets caught? And I said, how? And he said, by its mouth, right? So let's keep your mouth shut and not get caught, right? Like know what to say, know
Wow.
what not to say. You know, people tend to show off a lot, and so they talk way too much. That's a bad trait, you know. So using media for the right reasons is fantastic. Using media for the wrong reasons can be detrimental, you know, to your reputation, to who you are, to all of those different things. And I just think it's critical that we use it smartly and efficiently. And but you know you realize that it's there, you know, for as a marketing tool. I mean, I certainly used, you know, the media and the television shows to, you know, gain exposure for the agency and to grow the agency. You know, we're now at 155 offices and, you know, worldwide. You know, that's all, you know, I owe a lot of that to the media, to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, to Buying Beverly Hills, to Dancing with the Stars, to, you know, because I was on all of those things, I'm, you know, I'm able to be a correspondent on Fox Business News and on Bloomberg and on all kinds of different things, which are all, you know, also help a lot. Now, you can do all of that and then not have the knowledge and not talk about it and not have an opinion. And then, you know, you're only as good as, you know, once you get your one shot wonder and you're done, you'll never do it again, right? So it's all about taking, you know, making sure that you're on it.
Yeah. When you launched Buying Beverly Hills, the timing was just a few months after we launched the agency Seattle.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I could never have gotten that kind of marketing PR. It would have cost me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more.
Oh, probably a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, I would throw on my
Yeah.
agency ball cap. Walking in Seattle, we have a little area called Sodo, south of
Yeah.
downtown. There's a great wine tasting facility. I walk in, have my hat on. This woman says, "The agency, you know, did you get that in LA?" And I said, "No, actually, it says Seattle on the back. We're here." And she was really excited. So I went out to my car, got her hat, gave it to her. A week later, she called and said, "Do you have an office in wherever Mexico, right?" And I said, "I don't know. I'll have to check." So I called Stacy Tilford and I said, "Do we have an office in this area?" She's like, "Hey, ding dong, we just opened there last week." And so we connected her. We ended up selling her family's home there. But that will happen if I'm like at the Sounders game, anywhere I go. So that is the power. It's exposure and it's worked really well for me. So thank you.
Well, but then on top of that, and you're welcome, but on top of that, I think one of the great things about it is that, you know, we're lucky enough to be surrounded, you know, with amazing people, right? So when somebody says to you, "Hey, do you have this office in Mexico?" and you just go ahead and refer it, like you know that you're referring an incredible person on the other side just because of how, you know, careful we are and how good we've been at making sure we surround ourselves with the best of the best, just like yourself in Seattle, right? Like there's nobody in our organization that's going to be like, "Oh my God, I need to, you know, refer Jen Cameron in Seattle." Everybody's going to be like, "Yes, I get to refer Jen Cameron in Seattle," right?
Please.
And I think that that's the way that, you know, you have that confidence. And I'm imagining your client, you know, was well taken care of in Mexico and was super happy. I hope
Hmm.
that's I didn't just set myself up for a bad.
No, everything went great. I was
Yeah, good.
on a listing appointment this morning. You know, amazing property, and I think the sellers interviewed 10 different, you know, high profile agents and whatnot. And he really asked me, you know, how are you different? And I really brought up, I said, we have this philosophy, you know, and it's quality over quantity, and it's all for one, one for all. When you work with me, you work with all of us. And we had a conversation, and he was really impressed. Um, I would love to ask you a couple questions about the agency. And one is when you go
Rapid
back to
fire. Let's go. Let's see it. Let's
when you
feel it.
we're going like this because we are busy people. When you
I like
launched
it.
the agency and you and Billy were having your conversations, what was the gap you were trying to fill in the industry?
You know, at that time, it was there was a lot going on in the industry. I mean, first of all, nobody was marketing the way we marketed. You know, event marketing, storytelling. You know, people back then were marketing, you know, three bedrooms, two baths, granite countertops, and, you know, Viking appliances, right? We were marketing stories. We were storytelling. Like, how do you, you know, how do you live in this house? Where are you living? Where are you going to go to the park? What are you going to be doing? What are the different things? Like, what is the lifestyle? surrounding this type of neighborhood, this type of home, all of that stuff. And a lot of event marketing and all of that stuff. I mean, we took marketing to a whole new level. I think we're the ones that invented, what is today, the great open house, the party open house, the event marketing, the storytelling, all of that stuff. We're the ones that brought that into real estate. But additionally to that, I think one of the things that we wanted to create is an environment that was very collaborative, and that was, all for one and one for all. The idea of one tide lifting all boats, that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of what we created. Real estate has always been a very cutthroat business. Everybody's a 1099. Everybody's, hiding and hoarding their database and their clients and all of that stuff. And we were one that created an environment where you didn't have to hide and hoard, but you could rather share and be open about it. And your colleagues would help you find a property, find an off-market listing, deliver better service for your clients, because you were in an environment that made sense. And and we wanted to make sure that we were extremely boutique. We wanted to make sure that we were, luxury, high touch, high service. Luxury does not mean a price point. It means, somebody that wants incredible service. They want advisory work. They want consulting. They want to make sure that they're being properly, taken care of. And we believe that, if we're able to give amazing service and amazing work and amazing advisory, we're gonna, 5x pay for, our commission. Like, we're gonna earn the client so much money, because we're doing the right job. We're not just trying to get the property sold as quickly as possible. We're trying to get it sold as much as possible. And that was the environment, I think, that we created.
Well, you've said many times collaboration over competition, quality over quantity, right? All the
Yeah.
things we live by. If I always say we're not the company for everybody, right? And if you were to kind of create an ideal persona of an agent that would thrive in the ecosystem of the agency, what kind of agent thrives here?
Well, there's many, I don't think that there is an ideal persona. And that's what I always say. There's many ice cream, flavors of ice cream in an ice cream shop, right? Like, and you go into 31 flavors and you're going to have, 31 flavors, right? So they all belong in the shop, right? And somebody's going to come in and pick one, right? So it's not about, what is the right, pigeonholing people to, what is the right persona at the agency, right? Because there isn't. There's multiple people and multiple different things. But I think that, again, the traits and the character traits that we all have in common are collaboration, high service, boutique, all of the things that I've talked about. I think those are at the end of the day, experts in our fields. Like, I want to make sure that the people really, in our company know what they're talking about. They truly are experts in what their fields are, and they're also truly advising their clients properly.
Amazing. You've been very kind to give me your time today. So I'm going to wrap this podcast up with a kind of a long-winded question. It's
Okay, let's
it,
get it.
it may be two in one, but where do you see real estate going in the next 5 to 10 years? Are we headed towards consolidation, boutique specialization, or something entirely different?
Well, there's a lot happening right now. I mean, I think that it's very difficult to say what's going to happen. There's just changes everywhere, or the opportunity for changes everywhere, right? National Association of Realtors is, kind of changing. I mean, they just, I think for the first time, just changed their rules in terms of allowing, taking away the three-way tie between the MLS, the National Association of Realtors, and and having to be a member of both in order to achieve, to put those in. You're seeing tremendous consolidation, in the U.S., particularly Compass and Anywhere have joined forces. Those are the two largest companies, have now joined forces to create the largest company. I think that's going to create a lot of opportunities for some, other companies like us and other people like us. But, it's also going to change real estate a lot, right? I think commissions. Commission compression, I think is out there, from the perspective of more of like the agents and the, working for the brokerage firms. I think, high touch people will always want that. But I think that, you're going to start seeing, technology, AI, make us way more efficient. I think that the better agents are going to be able to do more deals, right? If you could do, I don't know, whatever, 40 deals a year this year, in a year, if you use AI properly and your team uses AI properly, you should be able to do 80 deals, right?
Yeah.
And if you can do 80 deals a year, well, that's going to take, you know, 5 agents out of the market, right?
Yeah.
Because they're no longer going to be in the market. So I perceive that the real estate professionals are going to shrink. We're going to have less of us doing more deals. Which again, I think that that's an opportunity for a company like a boutique that has a bunch of experts and not a bunch of people that are not doing deals, on their books. So I think that that's going to be an opportunity for us. Um, I think there's going to be less choices, and I think there's an opportunity to consolidate and to continue to grow and to do some amazing things. But from a brokerage perspective, getting into the ancillary businesses, I think is going to be critical. Mortgage and title and escrow and all of these different things, insurance, PNC, offering that, making the point of sale a lot more effective and a lot more efficient for the client. I think is critical, and making the experience easier. I think is something that we're going to start seeing a bunch of changes in. But again, using technology, we're going to be able to show clients, somebody that wants to buy in Aspen or Turks and Caicos, for argument's sakes, like they should be able to walk into your office,
Yeah.
do some amazing tours of 10 homes, discard 7 of them, right? Because
Hmm.
they don't suit them, and when they travel to the destination, go see the 3, make their life way more efficient, way more effective, and ultimately buy one of those 3 residences instead of running around the island or the city, looking at 7 residences that won't fit you, right? So we're able to use technology for that, so the experience is going to be a lot better. And so, yeah, there's going to be some great changes happening. I'm excited about it.
Well, in Seattle and Bellevue over here, I'm focused on making sure we're the most knowledgeable. We give the best service, keep my head down, whatever noise is out there. The only thing I know after 27 years in real estate is it's going to keep changing. So it doesn't bother me. It's,
And people are going to keep on buying, and people are going
yeah,
to keep on selling, and it's just part of life, and it's about adapting, not fighting it,
yeah,
and embracing it. And I think, and look, Jen, you're amazing at what you do. You've done, you're an amazing ambassador for the agency. You're amazing in Seattle, and you've been in the business for a long, long time. And I got to say, I'm just happy and proud to be your partner.
you're very kind. Best decision I ever made. I have never felt this free to be me, unleashed, doing my thing, and we keep
I
getting
love
better
that.
and better all the time. So thank you. We did it. And you have
We
a
did
busy
it.
day. So thank you. I can't wait to see you soon. I
Thank you. I'll
appreciate
see you
you.
soon.
Okay.
If you've made it this far, thanks for listening and thanks to my guest. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See ya!